Okay, hello dear students. So again, this is the last session for the first module. So previously we have solved the problems on optimum number of rain gauge station, continuity to check the continuity of rain gauge station data, consistency of rain gauge station data, as well as we have even gone through the Thiessen polygon method for determination of average precipitation over an catchment area. Apart from that, we have solved one problem on isohydral method, again to determine the mean precipitation over the catchment area. Okay, so in this session we'll continue with the isohydral methods and will complete that particular part today. So I'll read this question, we'll understand it, then we'll go for the solution of that. Okay, calculate the mean annual rainfall using isohydral method using the necessary data. Okay, so this is this one statement itself is our question, but what they have done is they have given you a particular figure. Okay, they have given you a particular figure with which you need to do the calculation. So all the data that is required to calculate this mean precipitation is given represented in this particular graphical representation. Okay, so in the previous problem the same data has been given in terms of tabular column. Okay, but whereas now it has been given in terms of what I can say this particular presentation. Okay, one difference if you check out from the previous problem that we have solved, for these iso heights which are available, which you are seeing over here. Okay, so these iso heights, last time we have assumed it as it is starting from the this part of the catchment area and it is ending at this part of the catchment area. Okay, but right now if you check out, there is nothing at the edges. They have just given four iso heights at the middle of this catchment area. So at this point of time, how to go ahead with the problem, we'll just check it out. Okay, again the basic concept is still going to remain same. The only thing is here and there we might need to change the formula, that's it. Okay, so keeping that in mind, so if I need to tell you what all things is there in this figure. So this is green colored one is the boundary of that catchment area, and this catchment area has been divided into 5 subdivisions. They have divided into 5 subdivisions. So in each of this, what they have given the area. So if you check out for the first one, it is section A. Okay, and they have given the area of section A is how much, 25 kilometers squared, and the rainfall data over here is 4.5 centimeters. So here, instead of giving you the average value or you calculating the average value between the two iso heights, what they have done is directly they have given you the mean precipitation in that particular section. So your work is much more easier over here. Okay, so don't get confused, still I am saying, because in the isohydral method these iso heights are formed or generated based on the placement of rain gauge stations. Okay, and once you have the rain gauge stations, then only these iso heights can be formulated, and once these iso heights are formulated, at that point of time we are letting go of the rain gauge stations. Okay, so that's why in the isohydral method you will never find the rain gauge station placement over there, but instead you will just find the isohydral placement. And the second thing is they can give you the data in various ways. They can give you this particular rainfall data or isohydral data in any ways. So if you check out the previous problem, there they have given you the isohydral value for the corresponding iso heights, and you only needed to calculate the average value between those, and we have assumed that it is there for the starting as well as for the ending section. But whereas here they have not given anything at the start or end, because in between if you check out, the same thing is visible. So here if I just take this C section. Okay, so at that point of time you see the iso height is the covering this particular part is what, one is 7 centimeter, one is 9 centimeter, so the average of that is how much, 8 centimeter only. So still those things are true here whatever we have done. So average of 9 centimeter and 7 centimeter is how much, 8 centimeter, so the same thing is visible over here. Okay, similarly 9 and 11 centimeter, so it is how much, sorry, I guess here they have given the different value. Okay, but my whole intention of telling you this one is uh, for these edges basically. Okay, here if I even take this section E, so for the edges we don't know what is existing at this end. Okay, we don't know what is the iso height which is going to be over here, because we don't have any data regarding that. So neither we have the data at this end. So that's why we don't need to calculate here anything with respect to the start or end point, or even in that matter of fact even the middle section, because here already they are giving you the values which are required for the calculations inside this figure only. So no need for you to worry about why this is not matching or something. So basically nothing of that sort. So already if they have given you that value, it indicates what, basically they have done the means they have given the prerequisite data. You just need to go ahead with that. So one more clarification that I want to give you over here is, if you check out this section B, okay, for A and E, basically as I said, since we don't know the this edges isoheital value, so whatever they have given, we just need to blindly assume that and go ahead with the calculation. But if you check out the middle sections, okay, so here in the B section, it is covered with a iso height of 6 centimeters and 7 centimeters as it is visible over here. But if you check out the mean precipitation value over here, it is how much? It is 6.5 centimeters only. So this is actually the average between 6 and 7 centimeters of rainfall iso heights that we have over here. So this is actually the average. B1 is checked out. Similarly for C, it is checking out because it is between 7 and 9 centimeter, and the average is how much? 8 centimeter, that is there. But now if you check out for the D section, it is not matching up because it is 9 centimeter and 11 centimeter. So the arithmetic average of this should have been what? 10 centimeters, but they have given it as 8.5. I'll tell you why. The reason for this might be, these particular values might be of a practical situation or a scenario. Okay, so how I am saying that for the A and B and C section, it is just the arithmetic average of the what I can say, the rainfall data between these two iso heights. But here in actual practice, this may not be true. So what do I meant by that? Imagine this this D section what we have over here. Okay, so for this D section, okay, imagine that if average they have given it as 8.5 centimeters. Okay, so why they have done it like that? Because based on whatever the rainfall data is existing, okay, so few places, since this particular place is what, 80 kilometers squared, right? So we might have one more contour, or we have multiple contours which might be in between these. We might have multiple contours in between these of lower values. Okay, and the rainfall distribution over here might be with respect to that particular aspect. So we don't know the actual scenario what is there. So that's why here your arithmetic average will not match up. Fine. So whenever they are giving you the specific values of effective precipitation over that particular section, so no need to worry. So don't worry about the arithmetic calculation, and again cross check what the things are going on. Okay, so this is what the figure is indicating. Now if I just need to determine the average precipitation over here, it is as simple as that: P1 into A1 plus P2 into A2 plus P3 into A3, so on up till P5 into A5 divided by the total area. So if you check out in the previous problem, for the same P bar, we have used it as what? P1 plus P2 by 2 into A1, P2 plus P3 divided by 2 into A2. But whereas here that particular formula has changed. Why? Because of the way in which they have given you the data. I hope you got that. Because of the way in which they have given you the data. So ultimately your basic concept for calculating these mean precipitation is still remaining the same, but the way in which they are giving you that what I can say data, you need to modify the formulas that are going to be there. Okay, so keeping that in mind, I'll just put these values over there. So 4.5, that is P1 is what, 4.5 centimeters, which is here, into A1 into 25 kilometers squared plus 6.5 into 20 60, 8 into 80 8.5 into 80 and 2.5 into 35. So 5 sections, so those values we have put up, divided by the total area, that is 25 plus 60 plus 80 plus 80 plus 35. Okay, and if you do the calculations, ultimately you will get this particular p bar value as 6.82 centimeters. It is 6.82 centimeters. Okay, so this is nothing but the mean precipitation over the entire area. So here also the basic thing that if you understand here, only the formula for P1 plus P2 by 2 is changing, but ultimately you are representing or you are multiplying what? The rainfall data collected multiplied by the area, plus rainfall data collected plus the into multiplied by area, rainfall data into area. So we are just adding these individual sections together and dividing it by the total area to get the average precipitation over that entire catchment area. Okay, so this is how we can proceed with the problems on isohydral method. So this is the second type of problem what I can say when it comes to the isohydral method. Okay, so this is the third problem that we are solving on isohydral method. So here again the representation is different. Okay, so it is similar to our first problem that we had. Okay, so similar to that, again first we'll read it out and then we'll go for the solution. The ISO heights for annual rainfall over a catchment basin were drawn. The areas of the strips between the ISO heights are indicated below. Find the average depth of annual rainfall over the basin. Then they have given the ISO heights values in terms of centimeters and they have given the area in kilometer squared. Okay, so if you check out here, again it is similar to the first problem that we have solved, and if I just draw this catchment area, okay, with the ISO heights, so basically here will be the first one, that is your 75, then we'll have the 85, then we'll have 95 ISO height, then we have 105, we have 115, and lastly here, sorry, 100, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, okay, so 135, and the last one is 155, which is there. Okay, so the each things you can write it with the help of the numbers or ISO heights which are there in the first column. Okay, and the area in between those is what? 580 kilometers squared, so here it is 580. Yeah, next it will be 2960, 2960. Yeah, similarly the third one, 2850, 2850. Next we have 1000. Yeah, next we have 610, and the last one what we have is 160. Okay, so here also basically the formula is going to still remain the same. Okay, here if you can check out, instead of writing that P1 plus P2 by 2, I have just written it as P1. Okay, I have just written it as P1 because if you check out, I have represented this P1 in terms of what? The average value itself, because the first value is what? It is varying from 75 mm to 85 mm, and the arithmetic average of this is how much? 80. So the same 80 rainfall mm we have taken it, sorry, centimeter, we have taken it as the value of P1 over here. So it doesn't matter how you represent that formula, but if you are again the basic concepts are clear, then it will become easier for you to solve this, because this is the third problem that we are solving, and you can check out all the three problems are being solved with the different methods. So here I cannot generalize which method to use for all the problems. It solely depends on the way in which the question is being given to you. Okay, and what kind of data is available to you for the solution of the problem. So whenever they try to give you in terms of these columns, okay, so better you try to convert that into a graphical representation, and then you go for the solution of these particular problems. Okay, now keeping that in mind, so if I just said, so this p bar which is going to be here, it is p1 plus a1, p2 plus a2, p3 plus a3, and so on up till this particular end, divided by the whole area. So for that, what if you check out, so the first precipitation that we have is area is 580 kilometer square, and the precipitation is average of 75 and 85, that is 80. Okay, for the second one it is 2960 is the area, yeah, into 85 and 95, this average is 90. Similarly, for the third section, it is 2850 area and 95 and 105. So this is 100. So 100 into 2850 is written over here. Similarly, 1000 is the area, and 105 plus 115. The average of that is 110. So that is mentioned over here. Similarly, 610. Now if you check out, it is the difference is 20 centimeters. Till now it was only 10. So 115 plus 135. 115 and 135. So the average of that is 125. And the area is 610. Similarly, the last one, 135 and 155. The average is 145 and the area is 160. So 145 into 160. This will give you the total particular calculation. So divided by the whole area which is going to be there. So once you solve that, ultimately you will be ending up with a mean precipitation over here. So that is 99.05 centimeters. It is 99.05 centimeters. So this is going to be there for the as the mean precipitation for this kind of problem. Okay, so again I'll repeat here, we are having the same kind of basic principle for solving this isohydral method. So still here there was a bit of a difference between the first and the third one, just now what I have represented here, but the ultimately your concept is what, you are multiplying the effective area in between the isoheights multiplied with by the average precipitation that is going to occur in this area. You add it with the next effective area and the rainfall that is occurring in this section. Similarly, when you add up with all the sections and divide it by the whole area, then you are going to get the mean precipitation over the entire catchment area. Okay, so this is how you can solve this problem. Okay, so this is again the fourth problem that we are solving, and again in this particular thing we have different way of asking the question, as well as we have applied different method for solving that particular problem. Okay, so I'll read the question. The isohydral map for 24-hour storm gave the areas enclosed between the different isoheights as follows. Determine the average depth of rainfall over the basin. So what they have given is, they have given the isoheight map for 24-hour storm. So they have this isohydral map for 24-hour storm, and they have given the area enclosed between different isoheights, which is given in this first two columns. So your problem will be limited to the first two columns that we have. Okay. Determine the average depth of rainfall over this basin. So here also they are asking you to determine the average precipitation. Okay, so what all things they have given in that question? Two columns. One is isoheight in terms of millimeters, and the second one is area between the isoheight and the basin boundary. So this term is very important. Okay, area between the isoheight and the basin boundary in terms of kilometer squared. So in the previous problems, there also we had two columns. One was your isoheight. So isoheight was in a range that they have given, and the area directly they had given you the specific areas for that particular coverage of the isoheights. But whereas here he had given the area between the isoheight and the basin boundary. Okay, so here isoheight is 21 mm, and the area between the isoheight and the basin boundary is 543 kilometers squared. Similarly, 20 1345 19 2030. So if you check out, all these values are go on increasing. Okay, because it is a cumulative value what he has given. So if I try to represent the same in terms of a graphical representation, imagining this as your catchment area, okay. So here you need to understand the ISO height over here is 1. That is what your average rainfall that is occurring over here is how much? This is 21 as per the problem, okay. And here the area between the ISO height and the basin boundary. So this is an ISO height, this is an ISO height, yeah, and this is the boundary. Okay, so the area between the ISO height and the boundary over here, it is how much now? It is 543 kilometers squared. 543 kilometers square what we have here. Yeah, so this is 543 kilometers squared. Similarly, we have something called as, next one is 20. we have 20. Okay, so this 20 ISO height is again 1345 right now what he is giving you. So this 1345 is this entire area. If I just try to show it over here, yeah. So this whole area from this left boundary till the end of this second ISO height which is there. So this entire yellow colored one what we have over here is how much? 1345. So this value is 1345, 1345. Similarly, we have the next ISO height as 19. Yeah, so this all the three together right now, if I just show you, yeah, so this particular all the three sections together, total area is 2030. Similarly, for the next column what we'll have, again it will be 2545. So basically from one end, he is in this question he has given the cumulative value of the effective areas for all the rain gauge, all the ISO heights. Okay, so you can go on representing like this, and ultimately you will be ending up with the 12 as the ISO height value, and the total area is 3915 kilometer squared. Okay, so now that's why whenever we do the calculation, what we do, we usually go for the individual area multiplied by the rainfall. Individual area multiplied by the rainfall, we add up all these and then we divide it by the whole area, right? But so that's why here since they have given it the cumulative value here, you need to convert that into effective areas. You need to convert that into effective area. So how you are going to do that? If you check out this, if you check out the third column that we have, so 543, you have the same 543 value. Okay, so next value is cumulative value is 1345. So 1345 minus 543, 1345 minus 543 over here will come over here as 802. Okay, because 1345 minus 543, or else instead of doing the yeah, I guess it will be better. Yeah, 1345 minus 543 will give you 802. Now similarly, next column 2030 minus 802 which is available will come as 685, which is over here. Similarly, 2545 minus 685 will come as, sorry, I guess no, sorry for that, no, you cannot do this. It will be basically the previous values what we will be doing. Sorry for that. Here, so 543 directly it will come over here. Now 1345 minus 543, 1345 minus 543 will come as 802 over here. Okay, similarly 2030 minus 1345 will come over here. Similarly 2545 minus 2030 will come over here as 515. Similarly 2955 minus 2545 will come as 410 on this way. Similarly 3280 minus 2955 will come here as 325. Similarly, 3535 minus 3280 will come as 255. Similarly, 3710 minus 3535 will come as 175. Similarly, 3880 minus 3710 will come as 170, and finally 3915 minus 3880 will come as 35. Okay, so this is how you can determine the effective areas for each of the sections. Now to cross check whether your calculations are correct or no, what you can do is you can add up all these particular values. Okay, you need to add up all these particular values. So once you add it up, you will be ending up with a particular value. Okay, so this summation value should be is equals to the last value which was there in the table. It should be is equals to the last value which is there in the table, because already this second column was a cumulative value for the area. Okay, what you have done in the third column, you have instead of that cumulative area, you have divided that into effective area for each of the rain gauge stations. Okay, sorry, isoheights. And once you add up all those things, so total area for this catchment is still remaining the same. There is no difference in that. And here in the as per the headings which has been given over here, area between the isoheight and the basin boundary, so last isoheight will come here, yeah, and the basin boundary we have considered is this one. So this itself is the total area, so the final area is 3915. So once you add up to the third column, you should get the same value which was there in the last part of the second column. So this is how you should get it, and if it is right, then your calculations are correct. Now the next thing is, here they have just given you the value of one particular isoheight. It is not a range as it has been given previously. So that's why what we need to do is, we need to, for the first one, we can take it as the same value, because we don't know what is the isoheight value over here with this figure. Okay, so that's why here we can assume the same value for the first isoheight which is going to be there. But from second isoheight onwards, if you check out, so it is 20, but here I have written it as what, 20.5. So how this 20.5 has come? It is the average of 21 and 20. So that itself we have written it as 20.5. Similarly, 19 and 20 average, it is written it as 19.5. Similarly, 18.5, 17.5, 16.5, 15.5, 14.5, 13.5, and the last one which is going to be here. Okay, so for the last one, already you have the previous value with this. So 12 and 13. So the average of that is 12.5. So that's why here only for the first case or the first isoheight we have considered the full, whereas for the last one we have that previous value with us. So that's why this has been taken the average as 12.5. Now here also in the last column of calculation, if you check out, we have the rainfall volume. So that will be incremental area into the average rainfall. So with respect to individual, so 543 into 21 will give me 11,403. So third column and fourth column will give us the value for the fifth column as it is indicated over here. Okay, so 802 into 20.5 will give you 16,441. 685 into 19.5 will be 13,357. So and so forth, you need to go on calculating this. So if you add this, if you check out, so this is nothing but the numerator that we got. Usually our P bar will be what? It is P1 A1 plus P2 A2 plus P3 A3 and so on. Yeah, and so on, divided by the total area, that is again A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on. Yeah, so the same formula is being used over here. So the fifth column is actually giving the value of the numerator, because here you have, this is your A1 into P1, that is your first value, A2 into P2, this is your second value. Similarly, A3 into P3, this is your third value. A4 into P4, fourth value, and so on. We are doing the same thing in this last column, but the way of representing this particular answer is different, but ultimately we are doing the same thing. Okay, so that's why if you add up this fifth column which is available to you, so you will be getting the total precipitation as same itself. You will be getting the total numerator value in this column. Okay, so average precipitation, if you check out here, it is the numerator, so 72,486, which is the summation of the fifth column that we got, divided by the total area. So total area you have calculated in the third column, that is 3915 kilometers squared, and if you divide that, so ultimately you will be ending up with the average precipitation over this entire area, and for this problem it is 18.51 millimeters. So this is what is required for the average precipitation which is going to be there. Okay, so this is basically the problem, how you can solve it. Okay, so you can check out here, we have gone through various different ways of representing these rainfall datas. Okay, and even the calculation for this average precipitation with the isohydral method, we have solved 4 problems, and each of the 4 problem had different way of solving this. Okay, so that's why you need to read the question carefully, and based on what kind of data is available to you, you need to modify your way of calculation. Okay, apart from that, I always prefer you to convert the particular columns into a graphical representation, so that it will be helpful for you to get the things done properly. Okay, so this will be the end of your first module with the theoretical as well as problems. uh, yeah, thank you.